Hello, everyone. Welcome again to the Riko Snow Game Show, where you get the best commentary and level headed opinions on all kinds of games, whether they be played on screens, tabletops, wherever, however. This is the show for hearing all about the latest, greatest, and the obscure. I'm Snow, and here with me again is our co host, Wrath. How's it going, man?
How's it going? How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Got a lot of new stuff to play this week. Some of it wasn't expected because my son, he's just a baby. He's less than 2 years old, but decided I needed to play the Order 1886. So when no one was looking, he found his way onto the PS Store and bought it for me.
While no one was looking and while you was asleep.
Yes. Yeah, I had kind of dozed off on the couch while the wife was in the kitchen, and he said, "Yeah, you need to own this." So now I do. So I just want to bring it up real quick because this game is getting a lot of hate from a lot of reviewers, and I want to bring it up on here because I don't think it's getting it's I don't think it's getting a fair opinion in most places. Um, besides the whole, there's this controversy before it even came out when people found out about the length of the game, and it's not really a big deal. It is a little bit shorter than games of its ilk usually are. Most people will probably finish it in around 7 hours or so. That's not really a big deal. The
Well,
thing,
that's not a big deal. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to disagree with you on that one. It's not a big deal. 7 hours of gameplay, that's pretty much a day and a half.
okay, to put it into perspective, I mean, most action games, like look at your God of Wars, those top out at around 10 hours. And even if you look at like,
But this
really real, like even look at games like Metal Gear, right? Like if you were to just, all right, with the cutscenes, those are usually like, especially like the older ones were like around 12 hours. You cut out, the cutscenes, you only got like 3 or 4 hours of gameplay, especially in like the first two.
okay. Completely understand what you're saying. But but with that being said, in Metal Gear, there's multiple things you can do to make the game last, to make the game longer.
Yeah, yeah, and that's
For
true. But I mean,
for
what the point
and
I'm,
the same thing with God of War.
yeah,
You level up the weapons you get from God of War, so on and so forth. So when you do get to end game, you do well. Person, if you play the game the right way, you will get more than 7 hours in a God of War game.
right, that's true. You do
The
have
same
more
goes for Metal Gear.
replayability in that stuff. But the point I'm trying to make is, it's not it's not so short that it's not going to be not worth the money to everyone. Now, it's obviously not. It is going to be so short that probably most people aren't going to think it's worth $60. That I completely understand. I had no intention of buying it, especially at that price point.
Well, actually, I'm not gonna. From the previews I seen on the TV. I actually even considered the thought of the game because to me it looked pretty good. But I can't play games like that because I'm first person shooters.
Oh, it's third person. It's not
Oh,
first.
it's actually third person.
Yeah, it's third person.
Oh, let's see. I had no
Yeah,
idea. It looked like a first person. That's why I didn't bother. But it did catch my attention. But
yeah.
then I read the feedbacks on it, and everybody's, no, the game is trash. The game
Yeah,
doesn't
well,
work.
see, here's my thing about that. What the besides the length of the game, which admittedly it is short and it has really no replay value, and just unless you just really like it enough to just play it again. Um, the biggest reason why I think it's getting a lot of low scores is because it doesn't do anything different. And to me, that's, you know, if your opinion is that that makes it a dull game or a boring game, that's fine. But for me, when I played it, I really, really enjoyed the experience. The story, it didn't, just like the gameplay, it didn't do anything really new, but everything I thought was done very well. And that it kind of speaks for the whole game. It doesn't go out and do anything brand new, but everything it does do, it it does it with a very, very high level of polish. Um, it does have quick time events. If you don't like those, you know, I don't know what to say. I mean, yeah, it kind of sucks that nobody's figured out a better way to do those highly cinematic moments without QuickTime events. But the truth is,
I like
nobody
the I
has.
like I like some events.
I do too. I mean, a lot of people give them a lot of crap, but I don't understand it. But a lot of it turns some people off. To me, I think it's a cool way to get those really cool cinematic moments. And
And
really, until
get you involved.
yeah, and until somebody can come up with a better way of doing it, which I haven't seen anybody do yet, then I don't see the use in complaining about them. But anyway, the gameplay is fun. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. Um, there was a couple of things that kind of rubbed me the wrong way because I had only really read anything about it when it was earlier in development. So I was expecting to see like the special weapons come into play more, but you mostly are playing with um, your more traditional slug throwers. Your rifles, sniper rifles, machine guns, stuff like that. Stuff that didn't actually exist in 1886, but you know, even those weapons I thought were handled really well and they worked beautifully. But anyway, without trying to not to spend too much time on the topic,
No. But I want to know. So what you're literally saying that they had great weapons in the game. They worked very well, but they didn't give them enough play in the
well,
game.
like the special weapons, like there's like a lightning gun, and there's one that's called a thermite rifle where you shoot like this white cloud and then you shoot a flare through it and it ignites it. You don't get to play with those weapons very often, and this I blame more on the marketing of the game than the game itself because those are really the only weapons they showed you uh, in like previews and stuff. And like I said, I blame that on the marketing team because that kind of built up this expectation that was going to be the weapons you use more often than not. And that's just not the case. More often than not, you're using the same kind of guns that all your enemies are using. And every now and again, you get to play with something that's
Wait. The
really fun.
same guns that your enemies are using?
Yeah, and see,
Aren't your enemies supposed to be monsters and stuff like that?
that was the second point I was wanting to get to. Another part that I blame on the marketing team is they made it seem like you're going to be fighting monsters for the whole game, and really they don't show up very often. They're an important part of the story, but you don't actually fight them, but in a couple of important parts in the story. The majority of the time, you're fighting other human enemies. And
Well, that's a disappointment.
yeah, I was really surprised by that. And again, I blame that on the people on the PR team that for not representing this game for what it actually is.
So I guess that my opinion on the reason so many people are bashing the game is not because the game is bad itself. It's because of the marketing they gave the game.
Exactly.
People had certain expectations. You understand me?
Yeah.
For example, I thought till just about now, obviously, I thought that the entire game was pretty much you are fighting monsters.
And
Um,
that's the expectation they gave people. I and
so
But if you look at it for what it is and not for what they had what we had believed it to be, the game itself is a good game. You could even make an argument that's a great game. It's just not what people were expecting it to be.
yeah, but that's like saying, oh, I'm gonna give you a Dragon Ball Z game without any sayings.
I wouldn't go that far. I
Look,
mean,
you give me an image about Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, I mean Goku, and then when it comes to play the game, Goku's not in the game. It's a Dragon Ball Z series game with nothing to do with typical Dragon Ball Z characters that we know.
I think it would probably be a better comparison if, like, for some stupid reason, you could only play Super Saiyan 3 Goku in, like, one storyline mission, and the combat and everything was fun and great otherwise, but that was the only way you got to experience Super Saiyan 3 was in, like, a single fight. I think that would be it would be a pretty close comparison, which would still suck, but I don't know, again, it's one of those things. I can understand people's complaints with the order, but to me, the experience of playing it was well worth my time. If I had the choice, I probably wouldn't have spent $60 on it. But once
Jason took that choice from you.
yeah, I didn't really have that choice. But I would recommend to anybody who's a fan of video games at all, once the price came down to where they felt comfortable with the price for, the amount of time they're going to get out of it, to definitely pick it up because it is a beautiful game. I've not seen any game on any system look as good as this game does. The stuff you see like on YouTube and in photos and stuff, it does not do the game justice. It is gorgeous and it's a solid, fun game.
Wow. I might have to. What is the thing that they have? Something share so I can watch you play the game and play with you.
Yeah, we could definitely work out something like that to where you could see it.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's worth checking out.
If what I see catches my attention, then I might consider the game because it's very, very bad when I have a very high expectation of a game, and when I get the game is something I was not expecting at all. So
yeah,
see, I'm actually happy I did speak to you because you put the game in perspective. You did tell me that the game is not all about monsters, where I did expect the game to be completely about that. You told me that the special weapons that you do see in the previews is not all you deal with, which I expected to get at least 70% of the game to be using special weapons. Because when I saw the game, the first thing that came to my mind was Ghostbusters.
I can see where you can draw that.
Why I say Ghostbusters, monsters, special weapons, so on and so forth. So I'm like, okay, I see a Ghostbuster game. I grew up on Ghostbusters, so actually I got a little excited. And then seeing the graphics and being able to play the game is like, oh my god, this game actually looks pretty good. But god damn it, it's a first person shooter.
But yeah,
like many games which I like to play. For example, Destiny.
Yeah.
I couldn't play Destiny because it was a first person shooter game. But drift away topic at hand. I thought it was a first person shooter. Speaking to you, put the game in perspective. It's a third person. It's not all about monsters. You don't get enough. You don't get all the weapons. You don't get to play most of the game with the special weapons. But besides all that, you were telling me that the game is a pretty good game. So my question to you is, okay, if you was gonna give the game a rating from a scale of 1 through 10, what would you give the game?
Well, personally, I'm not a big fan of numbered ratings. I don't like the concept of them. If I had to put a number on it, it's really kind of hard. Okay. I would say it'd be at least an 8.5, if not a 9. If you take the game for what it is, it's worth at least that.
That's a pretty high rating. So what you're pretty much saying is that you recommend the game for everybody, any and everybody to play it.
Yeah, I mean, what I would put this at is, I like it when people do give you like the buy, rent, skip, forget about it, whatever, that kind of a deal. And, for this one, even then, it's still kind of a toss up. To me, if you really, really want a game that shows off what the PS4 can do, then it's definitely a buy. If you're just interested in the experience and you're only going to touch it once and never play it again, then if you have a way to rent it, that's probably the better option to go because you are going to be able to finish this in one day if you got the time to sit down and just pound it out.
Okay. Well, you heard it. Everybody, you heard it here first. A solid 8, if not a 9, from Riko Snow. So if you are listening, pick up the game. I'm thinking of doing it now, just because of what Snow told me. So if he says the game is good, I agree with him. I've yet to find a game that he says is bad. So this is just my opinion.
Well, thank you for saying that. But enough on that. I definitely want to get to talking about the new Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball Xenoverse, I should say. Um, I've not got to put a whole lot of hours into it, but I have got to play it enough to know that I really enjoy the combat in this game.
Oh, definitely, definitely, definitely. I will. I have to second that. It, yeah, yeah. It's nowhere compared to the Dragon Ball Z game. Burst. What is it? Burst limit? What's the burst limit? No.
Or you thinking of like Ultimate Tenkaichi?
Oh God. This game, within the first 10 minutes, in just character creation alone, personal opinion, in just character creation alone, blew Ultimate Tenkaichi out the water.
Yeah, I was happy with the character creator.
My personal favorite part, because I probably put like what, an hour and a half into the game. Excuse me. An hour and a half into the game. And so far from what I've seen, where it's pretty much the character creation and walking around and talking to Trunks, the character creation, the fact that I can make a female Saiyan,
That's what I did.
G. Wilder's Batman. The fact that you can make a female Boo character, holy macaroni and cheese, Robin. Those two things, yes, you can make a human female. You got Namekians, and you have the Freezer rays. But making a female Saiyan character, these are things that we only see in flashback memories of Vegeta. Female Saiyans. Goku doesn't even know what a female Saiyan looks like because he's never met one. Pam doesn't even count as a Saiyan. She's half human. Not even. She's what? 2/3? She's one fourth Saiyan?
That sounds right.
So
yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing my female Saiyan turn Super Saiyan, just because it's not something we've seen
ever
in any other way before.
So I am extremely ecstatic about that. I don't know about you, but did you purchase? I pre-ordered the game, so I got my Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. You know I had to do it.
Well, I didn't get the chance to, and
I wonder why. Maybe your son has something to do with that.
No, it had more to do with all the snow we've had here. So I've not been able to get my car out, and I don't trust my truck enough to get into town to get down there to actually pre-order it. And I actually learned something very nifty because I bought the game on the PSN store, and apparently that game and the Resident Evil game that just came out Tuesday had some kind of glitch to where you couldn't actually download the game from the store. It acted like it was already installed once you bought it, and you had no way to download it.
But I heard that from I've seen that on multiple forums.
Yeah,
the release.
Luckily, I found out that there's this cool little feature I had no idea about, that you can go onto the PSN store on like your phone or your computer, however, through your regular browser, and you can actually, through the website, tell it to download to your PS4 from the browser. And that's how I actually got it to download. Was I went to the site on my phone, went to the game page, and clicked the download to PS4 button, and zoop. So that's a nice thing to know, that I can be at work, and I can actually buy a game at work and have it downloaded and be ready to install before I get home. But yeah, that is on the side. Anyway, I do want to address, there are a couple of things that irritate me. They're not enough to make me regret buying the game, but it does bother me. And I do want to get that out of the way, especially since I know you probably don't know about this yet, and I kind of want to inform you so that you're expecting it and you're not surprised by it. Really, the biggest thing is the transformations. Specifically for your created character, you really don't get hardly any. Um,
Whoa.
but besides the Saiyans, every single race gets the Kaioken. The only race that actually gets a transformation are the Saiyans, and they can only go Super Saiyan 2, Super Vegeta, and Super Vegeta 2. Now, what is meant by the Super Vegeta and the Super Vegeta 2, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure how those specifically differentiate from
So
those,
you
but
done
there is
just
no Super Saiyan 3 or Super Saiyan 4 for created characters.
so you just broke my heart. Another Super Saiyan 2 form like Ultimate Tenkaichi. Really? Really?
Yeah, I can't understand why they would limit you like that. Here's my hope. My hope is that, yeah, at the very least we will see.
An
Um,
add-on.
well, we know that we're getting 3 DLC packs. I'm hoping that we see more transformations come from those DLC packs besides new characters. And the other thing that bothered me, and this is tied together, as I mentioned, no other race gets a transformation. That includes like your Frieza clan. What you do have your character creation options so that you can make them have the appearance of the different forms, but however you make them, that's how they are. They don't ever transform through the different forms like Frieza did. And from
Like
what I
they
can,
don't, not even like, oh my god, they don't no Sarbon transformation, no Cooler transformation. It's just you're just that race.
yeah.
You
And
just
you
you
so
just look.
you can make it look like Cooler, you can make it look like Frieza's first form, or his later form, stuff like that. But as far as actually going through your different transformations, they you just can't do it.
This is so heartbreaking.
And and it's related to this. From what I can tell, the only versions of now I haven't got far enough to see Boo yet, but like Frieza, the only forms you have of him are his first, final, and 100% final, and he doesn't transform between them. You just pick from the form at the beginning of the fight.
So when you say 100% final, you
The
mean
one
like
where he went like he where he
Little
bulked
Boo?
up. You've
Say again.
got you got his first form, his final form where he turns white, and then the 100% where he's white but then huge muscles.
Wait, that's Boo.
No, Frieza.
Okay, all right. And the Boo, we was on the Boo.
Oh, I haven't seen Boo yet, so I don't know for sure
Okay.
which forms are there. But from what I've seen of Frieza and Cell, he probably doesn't transform either because the only versions of Cell that are even in the game are Perfect Cell and Super Perfect Cell.
Wow. I am sorry to say, but the game just got a big downgrade for me.
Yeah, I mean it was really disappointing to not see that stuff in there because for me, the transformations and being able to transform mid battle, it's always been something that just always put the game over the top for me. Um, like I said, it doesn't make me regret the purchase because the combat is really fun. The structure of it, I really like it. I'm still looking forward to, you know, earning the different abilities and pieces of armor and stuff like that, and totally making my own custom character that, you know, has special abilities from all kinds of different characters and stuff like that. But it does disappoint me not having that level of transformations and things like that I really would, make me just fall in love with the game. Now, what I
Okay.
hope, at the worst case scenario, this game does well, people like it, and we'll see that stuff in later versions because the same thing happened with the Tenkaichi series, which I know you didn't get into as much as the Budokai, but they did kind of the same thing when it started out. The first, maybe even the second game, you couldn't transform mid battle. You just picked whatever form you wanted to be in the fight, and that's the form you were in. But by the time the third game came around, you had full transformation of everybody. And it was even done better than what Budokai 3 did. So hopefully this one will be popular enough that we'll see more games in this series, and we'll see some of those little touches that were missing from this one in future iterations.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as saying that they did better than the Dragon Ball Z's Budokai series, because in Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, you could go from Super Saiyan 1 to Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3 to Super Saiyan 4, all in battle.
You could do that in Tenkaichi 3.
Yeah, but you didn't have to power up all the way to do it, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, you did. You had
just have
to
click your directional buttons and just.
Yeah, but there was a certain resource. I don't remember what it was called, but it was the one that was like little blue circles or something. You had to spend those to transform. So like you couldn't like do it immediately. You had to wait until that filled up and then use it to transform.
Okay. I played it like once or twice. I really didn't like the Tenkaichi games. The fact that this was gonna be a Tenkaichi fighting style made me think about purchasing the game, but I overlooked that part and considered that they will do a better job with the character creation and not limit your character to Super Saiyan forms. Now, quick question: when you say Super Saiyan 2 Super Vegeta, you talking about Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta when he fought Cell and let him transform? Or
see, that's what I'm not really sure of, because I've not got to see it in the game for myself. I've just seen it in a list. I looked up what all the available characters and forms were, and it had it listed as Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Vegeta 2. Now, if it just had Super Vegeta, we would know what that form is. That's, like Super Saiyan 1.5, pretty much. But since they've got a Super Vegeta and a Super Vegeta 2 form, I'm not really positive what the distinction between those two is. And I'll probably just have to wait until I progress far enough to see those to really know what that distinction is.
Well, I was excited to see how far my character was going to go as a Saiyan. Might as well fucking create a dynamic for all of that.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it is disappointing. I really don't understand why you wouldn't have the ability to go Super Saiyan, at least Super Saiyan 3, with your created character. But I don't know. Like I said, at the very least, hopefully we'll see it in future iterations. But again, it's not enough to ruin my enjoyment of this combat system, because it is a really, really nice blend of, you get that simulation feel that you got from the Tenkaichi games, but it's accessible and fun the way the Budokai games were, at least in my opinion.
Well, I still have yet to judge it. I can't elaborate much on it. Like I said, I haven't put much time into the game.
Right. Now, I will tell you, it when I very, very first started, I thought, wow, this fighting system's almost seems a little too simple. I mean, it's not Battle of Z simple, but it's still not as, it doesn't seem to have much to it, until I really got in there and started playing with it and realized, they don't really explain some things too well, but as you play it, you'll naturally figure out, how you do all your different types of moves. And, while you do control all your characters the same, the way you do your combos, your inputs are the same no matter which kind of character you're playing. They do have different attacks that they do with those, even if they are of a similar function. Their appearance and everything is different. And like for instance, if you are, how you can hold the one button, you dash really fast.
Yeah.
If you do that and then do just a pure square combo, just hit nothing but square, following that dash. Like if you're using I know the female Saiyan character, when I do that combo with her, after she hits him a few times, she'll knock him away, teleport, be behind him, knock him, teleport again, and then knock him into the ground. If you do that combo with Captain Ginyu, he'll follow up his normal combo with some weird looking, like he'll stand on his head and twirl his feet in the air and hit him with that. So he doesn't teleport at all. So even though the combo input's the same, he doesn't have the benefit of that teleportation that the female Saiyan character does, which is a good way to get in, do damage on people, and then teleport to a different location, and that can get you out of dangerous situations if you've got a lot of characters fighting in one spot.
Okay. That's actually one thing I did enjoy. I did do the Raditz fight, and I thought it was pretty cool how you had Piccolo and Goku in the same fighting zone. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought they did a great job with having these 3-on-3 battles. There have been like one or two fights where just because of the objectives of that fight, it made them kind of annoying. But, just overall, the way that the system works, it's just a really fun battle mechanic that it feels like Dragon Ball Z, but it's, at the same time, it kind of feels faster just because of the way everything happens. You're zipping all over the place. You can be knocking the snot out of somebody, and then all of a sudden Vegeta comes up and be like, "Surprise butt sex," and starts beating your ass. Yeah, it's like, especially like, you're doing a fight like against Nappa and Vegeta, and as you get, as you progress in the game and the difficulty ramps up, they'll act smart. If you're pounding on somebody and your back's wide open, they'll come in from behind real quick, and if you're not playing smart, they'll beat you into the ground if you don't adapt to that. So when I first started playing, I tried to like single out one guy, fight him while my partner was fighting another dude. And you can do that for like the first few fights, but then you'll quickly learn that as the computer gets more difficult, you really do have to be aware of, if somebody else is near you and putting you in danger of getting your ass whipped. And, as on the really tough ones, you really got to juggle, like, okay, you do a combo on this guy, you knock him away, and then while he's stuck in that being knocked away animation, go and defend yourself against this guy and get him in a good spot so that by the time the other guy comes back, you're ready to, lock fists with him. So it's a really fun system that they've built, especially once you really get into it and you get a chance to get a real feel for the flow of the battles.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna definitely have to get more into it so I can actually tell everything you're talking about and enjoy those 3-man battles. I haven't gotten to them yet. Obviously, I'm still on the Raditz fight. Just finished it right at 10 minutes before we got into just wanted to have a little feel for the game. But besides, I from what I played so far, I can actually say I enjoyed it. I've been enjoying it. Like I said earlier, the one part heartbreaking Super Saiyan 2, further as I can go. I was actually looking forward to having a Super Saiyan 3 female character to see how they would have complimented her.
Yeah.
Super Saiyan 3, really was looking forward into that. To be honest, I was actually looking forward to Super Saiyan 4, due to the fact that if you pre-order the game, you get Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. I was actually excited about it. I was like, oh my god, maybe I can turn Super Saiyan 4 and it'd be really cool. But now I know you don't, and my feelings are all over the place.
Yeah, and real quick before we get off the topic, I do want to say, if you're looking to get like a specific set of gear, keep your eye on when you get to the part where you unlock the parallel quests.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you'll like if you really want to get a full set of gear. When you progress so far, you'll unlock more and more in the store that you can buy with Zenny. But all of those parallel quests will have like at least one set of armor that you can get piece by piece. So like if you play that same quest over and over again, like the first time you do it, you might get like the gloves from that set. You do it again,
Mm-hmm.
you might get like the pants or something like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Thank you for telling me.
yeah, as it took me a bit to kind of figure that out. So, and your special attacks, you'll get those from that too. And there's a lot of stuff you can get without spending any zenny on it if you are okay with repeating a parallel quest a time or two. So just keep an eye on the rewards you can get from it, and you see something you really like, go ahead and repeat that quest so that you can get it, and save your money on stuff that to just kind of round things out.
Okay, okay.
So, have you got to play enough of Dynasty Warriors to really comment on that at all, or? So I know you said
Dyn-
it. You ain't got to bite too deeply into that one yet either.
Dynasty Warriors is the game that I'm most mainly focused on. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Um, I spent about an hour and a half just on character creation. I'm still getting the ropes of it. But besides that, like I said earlier to you, I haven't gotten really much into it. But from what I've gotten so far, it is very, very interesting. There's so much you can do. Not only do you get to design your character, you get to give him, okay, for example, if you're gonna create your character and do the story with your character and try to unite China with your character, you're able to create his banner, right? Give give your team a certain name. For example, and most of the Dynasty Warrior characters, most they go by there's Wu, Shu, and Wei. Those are like the three main families,
Okay.
right? You could actually put in your own family in there as well to like try to conquer China. Um, Not only that, but you can also create. Well, not you don't get to create. Pretty much design and a little a little adjustments here, a little adjustments there on your horse,
Okay.
which I think was actually pretty cool. Where you could give each character their own unique horse instead of having everybody using the same horse. No, you could have a black horse with white hair, very tall, very small, very brolic, so on and so forth. Um, you get to pick your own personal security security guard, whether you want him to whether you want what you want him to look, heavy armor, light armor, a peasant. Um, I didn't like the fact that you don't get female bodyguards because me personally, I would have created a guy character with 4 female bodyguards. That's
Who
just me.
wouldn't? I mean, I'd probably do the exact same thing.
um, but I don't know, I don't know much about it yet, but there is a lot of stuff in the game, and I can actually see myself enjoying the game as I progress into it and get deeper into it and deeper into it. I have the game when the game came out? Tuesday?
Yeah.
And I haven't done much in it. I'm constantly restarting it, resetting it, erasing, so on and so forth, because I want to do things this way, I want to do things that way.
You want to get
Just
that perfect start.
yeah. And certain games where you just okay, I got this, I'm gonna just start it like this, forget it, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I enjoy the game. I really like the game. I think it's fun, and I could see myself playing the game for multiple hours.
I can see what you're saying. I mean, it's the same thing. Like if you were to start a new game of NBA 2K, like you really want to get that your character right because you know that if you're really going to get into it, you're going to put a lot of hours into that. You know, it's not going to be like an Inquisition where even though you can get a lot of game time out of that, it doesn't hurt as much to scrap a character and to start one fresh as it would like in NBA 2K or something
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. That is exactly. So yeah, I don't me. I like the game. I can actually say right now it has my attention more than Dragon Ball Z, especially since you told me I can't turn Super Saiyan 3 or anything.
Uh,
But
but I am looking forward to doing some quests and stuff together.
oh no no, I am gonna play the game. That is for sure.
Yeah,
That
but
is that is a must. I am gonna get my character. I'm gonna make my character look badass. Hopefully, I could give her a Saiyan tail at least.
yeah, I know that you can have a tail because like mine right now is wearing the Raditz armor and she's she keeps the tail wrapped around herself like a belt.
I'm definitely looking forward to that. I want it's pretty much the same style I want as well.
But yeah, like Dynasty Warriors. One thing I'm really interested in hearing your opinion on when you get deeper into it is how the strategy element, the game outside the game really plays because I like that action that you get out of Dynasty Warriors. And if it has as like if it's got that kind of whole empire conquering map kind of a thing like I was imagining from what you're talking about last week, if it sounds as good as what I'm imagining, if it turns out as good as what I imagined based on that, I could see myself getting into that.
And you can play it online.
Like
You can
co-op
go
or how's that work?
yes, you could go co-op into a specific map and just annihilate the computer. Pretty much, you could go into every single map that you're playing in. For example, I'm the king of an area, and I'm playing online. You could join my gameplay any time.
Okay, so it's like you can like one person is like the host game and somebody can go in there and help them with their conquering. Uh,
Yeah,
okay. So it's not like you would both have your own empires on the map and be over multiple sessions. It's just, one person goes into another person's game and helps them conquer China.
yeah, pretty much. And you could not you don't only do it on mines. You could do it on other stuff. Um, where I don't know yet, but this is just a wild theory of mine. I can go into a super high level area and then you just join. I pretty much have every bad guy down to one hit, and you just come and kill them all and get the experience. But this is just my thought. I haven't experimented with it yet.
Right.
But it sounds, I do think there's something that you could do that. Quick question, Snow.
Yeah.
Never mind.
All right.
After we're done recording, I'll ask.
Okay. Um, oh, did uh a quick little sidetrack from games for just 1 second. Did you get the chance to watch that Power Rangers short film that was on YouTube for like 2 days?
No.
Oh, I really hope somebody shows up with it somewhere that more people can get to see it because Saban Entertainment's already got it taken down out of everywhere. I got to watch it like 2 hours before it got taken down, and it was awesome. You had, it opened up with Rangers fighting something, shooting like submachine guns at something, and then you look up and you see two Transformers looking Zords battling it out. I mean, we're talking like Hollywood level production values. Like this did not look cheap. This was like it looked like something pulled straight from a Hollywood movie, and it went to some dark places that you know I wouldn't want to see a full length movie with that kind of tone because it had a lot of um, to not spend too much time on it. It had a lot of drug use and stuff that I didn't really think fit the Power Rangers theme, but the fighting and everything in it was like really cool. Like I said, if it shows up somewhere, I'll make sure to let you know so you can watch it because it was it was really nice.
Yeah, now you got me curious. Now I want to see it.
But yeah, so Final Fantasy XIV, the Gold Saucer update, Triple Triad, Chocobo Racing. How much have you got to try this stuff yet?
Honestly, I've only done a few card games. I haven't done anything much because, like I'm focused on trying to get my Novus. I'm, pretty much farming to get my Novus, but I did the card games, and it was fun. I am a little disappointed with the fact that you can't go into a card game match, with full-blown master legendary cards.
Okay, I looked up the rules on that because we was talking about this a little bit earlier. The way that works is if you have less than 30 cards, you can only have one card in your deck that's 2 stars or higher. Once you hit 30 cards, you can have any number of 1 or 2 star cards and one card that's 3 stars or higher. And once you hit 60 cards in your collection, then you can have any number of 1, 2, and 3 star cards and one of the 4 or 5 star class.
So the higher I go, pretty much, I can't use my strongest cards. For example, I don't know if anybody played Final Fantasy VIII, where the game originated from. When you have Final Fantasy VIII, when you played the game in Final Fantasy VIII, you was able to select the cards. You could have went in there with the Ifrit card, Quisitis card, Squall, Rinoa, and
yeah, you didn't have any limit on what cards you could use. But so I mean, go ahead.
I was hoping for something like that.
Yeah, it surprised me, but at the same time, it makes sense, because it does force you to play the game more strategically and to not rely solely on having high-powered cards, especially with the different optional rules that you can use. Because I mean, technically, I mean, there's a lot of people that's already done this, but the guy who's like the best card player in the little Gold Saucer card game room, there's been a lot of people already who've been able to get the Bahamut card they've wanted off of him using the starter deck. Because if you just play the cards just right, if you've got like the plus rule or something like that active, a good smart player can beat a deck full of strong cards that are much stronger than theirs if you just play them just right.
Yeah.
And I think that's the feeling that they're going for, is that they want to encourage people to learn how to play the game, in a really smart, strategic way and make more interesting matches that way.
I guess you have a point. But I just wanted to play the game and play against everybody and be like, I'm Mr. Badass. I got all the cards.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But I mean, there's been a couple of surprises with the way it worked. Like the first time I played a match and lost, I was like, "Oh, nice! I didn't lose a card." But then the first time I won a match, I was like, "Hey, how come I didn't win a card?" Again, us being used to the version that's was in Final Fantasy VIII, where you always got at least one card was traded. It was surprising, but again, it makes sense the way that they've implemented it.
Cool. I guess you do have a point with that. I still want to be badass and have all and beat everybody with my great cards.
Ah,
That's what I want.
yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to increasing my collection, whether it's through winning them through card games or getting them out of the bronze, silver, gold packs that you buy with the points, or out of dungeons or whatever.
Yep, dungeons. I got the Odin card, Garuda card, and Shiva card.
Oh wow! Now, from what I understood, you get those cards from the hard mode of the primals. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I did do a couple of hard modes before we started recording, and I didn't get one, so I just want to make sure I was going into the right primal fight.
Yeah, you're right. You're going into the right one.
Okay, so it's just not a guarantee that it's going to drop.
Yeah, it's pretty much like the ponies.
Right. But
No. They're not like the ponies because the ponies everybody gets to roll on it. With that, you just get it, drops, and it's yours.
Okay,
It's like
that's good to know.
It's a specific item. When it drops, it's yours.
So it kind of drops the way that Atma does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
That's good to know. And I'm so glad that they put those in the hard mode primals because I love doing the hard mode primals. I think they're fun. I'm glad that they do have the extreme versions. I think that you need that for the super hardcore players, which I'm not super hardcore. I like to just go in and enjoy the content. And I'm so glad that there's a reason now that people are going to join the queues for these hard mode fights because I love going in there and fighting them. But where before there was no reason after somebody beat it for the first time to go back and do it. I'm glad that I get to go in there and enjoy these fights and just have the fun of fighting, like Shiva and Leviathan, guys like that.
Well, I for one would have liked for them to put it on the extreme modes instead of the hard modes. And the personal reason I do say that is to see if they could motivate people like you to get into the primal fights and advance through the game.
Well, see, I don't, but those fights aren't meant for people like me, which isn't to say I won't ever go in there and do them because I do want to beat all of them. But see, I'm exactly the opposite. I love being able to go in and do the hard mode fights just for the fun of it and do it multiple times. But if once I've beaten the extreme version of a fight, unless I'm specifically doing it to help somebody out, I have no motivation to go back in there because, it's not worth the headache to me to try to do it for the weapons that drop or anything. I mean, it would be different if, I was playing every single day, nothing but Final Fantasy, and was playing, with the guys in the FC that can clear this stuff every time, no problem. But I have no fun whatsoever, dropping in there with a random group, beating my head up against a wall, and essentially wasting 3 or 4 hours
learning process.
Getting nowhere.
The learning process. The extreme fights are actually, personally, a lot more fun than the hard fights.
Well, I can see where they would be more fun because I can learn the mechanics in like probably no more than 3 fights, provided I see through all the mechanics of the fight. And unless I just do something bonehead stupid, I can do my part. It helps that I'm a black mage and it's not as complicated as some people's parts. But, but that's not what frustrates me. It's when you go in there and
everybody else doesn't know the fight.
Yeah, even if you've already done it like 10 times in a row and people are still doing the same stupid things, that's what ruins them for me. So that's what I like about the hard modes is even if you're going in with randoms, you can still, I mean, unless you just get really unlucky and nobody has any clue what they're doing, you're going to be able to go in there and clear the fight usually on the first try.
Um, I'm sorry. Was
It's
my
all
remote too loud?
it's all right. Trunks apparently had some important things to say to you. But have you got to try out the chocobo racing any at all?
No, I have not.
Excuse me.
No, I have not. I'm actually very disappointed with the Chocobo Racing because when I was actually gonna do it, somebody told me um what you call it, you do not use your Chocobo, which is something that I was really looking forward to. And for you not to be able to use a Chocobo to me is very disappointing.
I don't know. I that didn't bother me at all. Um, because I mean, really, you start out with that chocobo. It's specifically your chocobo for the racing, but that's not even going to be the chocobo you use for the whole time because of the whole chocobo breeding thing. You'll use it to a certain point, and then you'll retire it, breed it with another chocobo, and you get to do that whole thing. Um, which, I mean, you really don't want to. And they really couldn't have done it any other way if you're going to have that chocobo breeding, because you're not going to want to put down the chocobo you spent all this time training for battle and everything.
Hmm, I guess you do have a point, but I would have liked to be able to use my Chocobo. For the racing, he has certain stats, and when he's outside, have certain stats. I don't know. They could have did it like that too.
Well,
Just
see, the thing I don't get though, I mean, because I've heard, you're not the only person I've heard say that they were disappointed by that, but I don't really see what the benefit, or even really what the big
it's
difference
your
would be.
Chocobo. You take time, all this time in the game to train your bird
Well, I
to
guess
make it
my
look.
point is, unless you've done something to change the color of it, it looks exactly the same as the one that you start with when you get one for racing.
Mine
And
looks. I changed the color of mine.
okay, but I mean that's the only thing, like with mine, I never changed the color of mine, so my battle chocobo and my current racing chocobo look identical. I even put the same barding on my racing chocobo that I use on my battle chocobo. So if they were standing next to each other, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And and it's not like you've got stats built into your companion chocobo that has anything to do with racing. He's not going to be any faster than anybody else's personal chocobo, so there's no reason to expect him to all of a sudden be faster than somebody else's personal chocobo only in the races.
Well, you could train them to be faster. Or certain. You could do certain things. You could. I don't know. I want my own. I want to raise my own chocobo, uniquely different from everybody else's looking chocobo and stuff.
Well, I mean, you do get to do that. If you get into it, and especially if you get into the chocobo breeding, you'll get different colors and things like that, and different stats, different special abilities. It will be your own personal chocobo. And honestly, I think if you get into it, there's a good chance you might feel more attachment to your racing chocobo as being your own than you even do your battle chocobo. That's just my personal opinion.
Mm, only time will tell, to be honest.
But I mean, the racing mechanics I thought were done very smartly. Yeah, it's kind of like a light version of Mario Kart. It's fun to play. It feels fair, um, and at the same time, it doesn't feel out of place. It feels like it actually belongs in the world of the game. It doesn't, it doesn't feel strange or alien. It feels like it really fits in with everything else. And it's also a great way to earn gold saucer points, because even though there's an entrance fee, even if you come in last place, you'll still win more points than what you spent to get into the race. So you always come away with something.
That's a good thing. It motivates people to, especially when you're trying to get that cloud card.
Oh, what do you think about like the did you get you a cactpot ticket?
I'm not. No.
Oh, dude, you got to go in there and if you haven't done the full tour yet that the quest takes you on everywhere, you go ahead and do that so you see everything. There's two kinds of lottery tickets. There's the jumbo cactuar, and I think it's called jumbo cactpot, and I think mini cactpot. The jumbo cactpot it works a lot like a real life lottery. Like you get a ticket, you pick four numbers. If the four numbers you picked are the ones that come up in the lottery in that order, you win, a huge jackpot, and you'll just have tons and tons and tons of gold saucer points. That they do a drawing for that every week, Saturday, 9 o'clock. Um, and then the mini jackpot is a daily thing. So every day you go into there, you can go get you a mini jackpot card, and it's kind of like a scratcher card. One circle will already be scratched off. You pick three circles more to scratch off, and these circles are in like a 3x3 grid. Once you have those four circles revealed and the rest are still covered up, you pick a row of three that you want to be like your numbers. They can go diagonal, straight up and down, straight left and right, whatever. And what it does is, um, once you pick that row, if there's any that's still not scratched off, it'll reveal those in that row when you pick the row. You add the three numbers up that are in the row, and then whatever number they add up to, you look on the chart that's on the card. Whatever that number is will have an amount of saucer points attached to it, and you win that number of points. And they range, some combinations are only worth a few. A lot of them are worth like, 2 to 500, and then like the top prize is 10,000. So if you get really lucky, like our friend Lindsay, you'll just pick random numbers having no idea what you're doing and win 10,000 saucer points.
Typical Lindsay.
Yeah. So,
That's always a good one. And she's always complaining she has no luck.
yeah, and then she does that. Uh, and yeah, so she got lucky with that one. And there's also like little mini games that will pop up inside the gold saucer too. Like there was one I saw happen that was almost like musical chairs. Like there's this big stage, this big round stage, and when the event starts, you go and you talk to this NPC. They'll put you up on the platform, and it was really funny to watch because there was probably like at least 50 people up on this platform, and what you do is like you just run around randomly, and then at a certain point in time, this thing goes off and everybody's stuck. They're just standing still, and then this big monster shows up, and he'll put down AOE's in random locations on that stage, and then when he hits, it knocks whoever's in those AOE's off the stage, and he'll do that like 4 or 5 times, and whoever's left still standing on the stage when it's over gets, a prize in saucer points.
Mm.
So they show up kind of like the way Fates do, but these are called gates. And there's several different kinds. I only saw like one or two when I was on yesterday, but they have a bunch of different ones that will just pop up and be like, "Hey, everybody, rush to here and do this thing." Like there was another one where they have like this little like fake mountain. It's not really a mountain. It's really like maybe 20 feet tall or something, and you got to like run up in a spiral and try to get to the top. But there's like bombs all the way up there, and they'll just randomly go off. And if you're next to one, when they blow up, you get knocked off. But you make it all the way to the top, you win a couple hundred saucer points.
Okay, cool. That sounds good.
So
Yeah, I need to get more into the salsa stuff because I really haven't done much with it. I said hey and nothing else.
Yeah. I mean, they did a really good job of, if it's something that you want to do, you can physically be in there and, have plenty to do to, always be doing something and, you know, you get that kind of excitement you get out of you know, like a theme park or something like that. They did a really good job with all that. You got little tiny games that you can play that are real easy and you win, hardly anything off of, like a little thing where you get to punch a little chibi Gilgamesh, and if you do it just right, you win like 5 saucer points, and like a little Moogle crane game, and little things like that they're neat to play with or whatever, but you're not gonna really want to sit there and try to grind points out of that. But there's a lot of really neat stuff in there. You can easily spend a, an entire evening in there and be entertained if that's something you want to do.
Yeah. But that's come on. That's like this Final Fantasy VII. You could have did the whole. You could have unlocked the fucking game. What you called it in Final Fantasy VII? The
Uh,
Choc
the golden
Chocobo.
the golden saucer.
It was the same name in seven.
Well, it was in seven. It was called the golden saucer, and in this, it's the not Hildebrand. Or is it Hildebrand? I can't remember. But anyway, the gold saucer. It doesn't have
Oh,
the
it
gold
doesn't say
into it.
golden. Okay, well, you could have spent the whole day just chocobo racing, and I think I did that a couple of times because there was a reason why you had to chocobo race in seven, wasn't there? What was the reason you had to race in? Yeah, for I think it was for Cloud's ultimate weapon.
It didn't. Well, did you, or was it for Knights of the Round or something like that?
It was for something. It was for a big part of the game. So yeah, if you could spend all day playing it on Final Fantasy VII, you could definitely do it on Final Fantasy XIV because I'm pretty sure the graphics are much better. The rewards are probably going to be more beneficial for somebody that's going to be playing an MMO for multiple hours of the day, and so on and so forth. So I can see somebody spending their entire day, if not days, and just play the golden saucer mini games.
Yeah. And I'm excited to see if they add even more stuff to it because they've got a lot of space there that they can plop stuff into, and we already know that like with every update we'll see new triple triad cards. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw new attractions show up there too. Maybe not to the extent of something like Chocobo racing, but I think it'd be neat if you saw like an homage to the bike racer from the FF7 Golden Saucer.
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if they did do that. And I'm pretty sure that every so often they'll add different games to it.
Now, with as much space as they put into there, that they've got to be planning to have given themselves room to put things in there.
Yeah, room to play with. I'm positive that's gonna happen eventually. That's something I'm 100% sure on.
But did you have any other topics or anything like that come up this week that you wanted to cover?
Mm, no, sir.
Okay. Well, one thing I do want to mention real quick before we go, it's one of those things that I would love to get into, but I probably would never find the people to get into it with me. I found out about this game called Mobile Frame Zero. It's basically just a rule set. You can get like the quick version for free. You can get the full version of the rules for like $5. But what it is it's a war game similar to like BattleTech. The tabletop war game where you have mechs and you move them around on your tabletop. They shoot stuff at each other, whatever. It's very similar to that, but you make these mechs out of Legos.
Oh, yeah. I'm not that guy for you. Legos, me, Legos. No, no, no.
Yeah.
I don't even let my son play with them because they're so annoying to me.
Well, I mean, obviously, like even if you don't see yourself getting into this, you should go and at least just check out what they look like. I didn't even know you could make these things. They'll buy uh you know big bags of these tiny parts, and it's really um what's the word I'm looking for? Impressive how how good these little tiny mechs look, because they're about the size of a BattleTech figure made out of Legos, and they really don't look bad for what they are. Um, and if you get the rules, it'll have directions on how you can put them together. And like one thing I thought was really cool about it is the way the game is played is whenever your mech takes damage, you actually pop off a piece of the mech to show what part of him got blown off. So I thought
Oh,
that was really cool.
yeah, it does sound cool.
Um, Again, I haven't really read I downloaded the quick start rules. I kind of glanced over them, looked at the designs. So, I don't really have an intimate understanding of how the game plays, mostly because I know it would be a waste of time because I'll probably never spend the money to get the little Legos, although that'd be cool to put these little guys together because they just look so badass in a Lego sort of way. Um,
Leave it up to you to come up with that one.
yeah, but that they looked really cool. It looks like it'd be fun to play. But I've already got a bunch of board games and stuff. I hardly ever get to play as it is. But it was still something really cool to find, and if you're into that kind of thing, um, it could even be a nice far less expensive alternative to something like Warhammer 40K or something like that, especially if you're like me and the idea of spending more time painting your miniatures than actually getting to play with them doesn't appeal to you. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you ain't got anything else to add, that's pretty much going to do it for this episode. Um, I do want to mention again the contest we have going on. We need a logo for the show. You can submit your entry to ricosnowgameshow@gmail.com. If we pick your entry, not only will we use it for the show, put it up on the Facebooks and YouTube and all that, show it off to everybody. But you'll get a $25 gift card to GameStop, which is really a nice time to get something like that because we're in one of those nice transition periods where, if there's an older game that you didn't get to playing in the last generation, the prices on that stuff is really bottoming out right now.
Yeah.
So you can get some really good games that you may not have gotten around to before, really cheap, and I've seen several games that are less than $10 that are, still really nice, high quality games that hold up with stuff that's, coming out today. At least on like, your last gen systems. Or even if you're looking for something new, it's still a nice discount off of something that's, just hitting the shelves today. So if you have any kind of artistic talent at all, please send us your submission. Again, ricosnowgameshow@gmail.com. We're all on the Facebook. That's where we're putting all of our announcements right now. Whenever we get a new episode uploaded, that's where we'll let you know. Eventually, I'd like to do this proper, get it on our own website, get media hosting and all that so that you can play it directly from our site and, download it to your iPods, iPads, and all those things so you can,
All
more
of your
easily
Apple
listen to us on the
devices.
go. Yeah, more than just Apple devices,
Hey, Apple devices.
in
Team
case
Apple.
you're cool like me and you've got an Android or no.
You really should do stand-up comedy. Like me with an Android.
uh,
No. Team Apple.
hey, I mean, iOS might get the games first, but I don't know. I just like my Android better. I think that I I don't. Well, that's a whole other rant. But just to me, iOS devices, they're so simple, they're complicated. That's just my opinion.
They're so simple, they're complicated.
Exactly.
Huh. That's a new one.
But
Well,
oh, but yeah, I don't have anything else to add for this episode other than I've had more new to play this week than I've had in a long time, and it's so hard trying to divide my time up to
between all
everything.
three.
Yeah. I mean,
I
at
mean,
least the
I mean,
good thing with the order was I got it done like before the weekend was even over. So I got to enjoy all it had to offer. So now I just got to try to balance Dragon Ball with Final Fantasy, which even that is kind of a difficult thing to juggle.
right. Well, this is completely off the recordings. I am struggling because I can't find my stuff, my costumes that I got from the game. Where that came with
Oh,
the pre-orders.
I don't know. I mean, did you already put in your code and everything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hold on, real quick. I'll record the outro so I don't have to do it in a separate recording. So that's all we got for this episode. Again, follow us on Facebook. We're so glad you came by to listen to us. We look forward to seeing you again. And also, don't forget, if there's anything that you want us to cover, leave us a message on Facebook or send us an email. Again, RicoSnowGameShow@gmail.com. Facebook, find me, Rico Snow. Also, we are very, very open to special guests from just about anyone. Like if you have a topic that you want to talk about, whether you've got an opinion that you don't, that you think is unique, or you've got an obscure game that you think nobody else knows about but everybody should play, let us know. Come on the show. Have a great time. Let everybody hear your opinion. Everybody's welcome.
Everybody's opinion is valid.
So yeah, let's hear yours and maybe argue about some things, have some healthy debate, whatever. All that stuff is good. I love it anyway. So, signing off, this is Rico Snow with my friend Wrath. Say bye, Wrath.
Smell you later.
Again, thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next time. See ya.